Here's a review of the 2013 Nissan Juke. Is it agile? Is it quick? Is it fun to drive? I'll see you on the other side of the intro. Hit that subscribe button and I'll be happy to share what this car is all about. Here's the Juke, the 2013. We have a nice silver gray color here. If you Nissan fans know exactly what this color is called, just go ahead and put it in the comments below. But this car is all about styling, guys. This is one of the most unique and fun looking cars on the road. Now I know they discontinued it in 2017, but ever since 2010 when this car came out, it turns heads. You know, there's nothing that really quite looks like it. And I like this car quite a bit for its looks. It's grown on me over the years, and I think it was kind of ahead of its time with its styling. Here's a fun little fact. This car is known as China, and it's rebadged as an Infiniti. It's called the Infiniti ESQ. In 2015, they refreshed this car, did a couple things to it, like upgrade the headlights to LEDs and things like that. This car was stopped in 2017, and in 2019, for the 2019 model year, they came out with the Nissan Kicks, which doesn't do this car any justice. That car is boring. Not as much power, not as much fun to drive, and the styling on that car is just falls flat. You can kick that car to the curb if you ask me. This 1.6 liter turbo produces 188 horsepower. The Nismo version, which if you've seen the Nismo version of this car, you cannot deny how well it looks. It's just absolutely gorgeous and sporty looking. But this one has 188 horsepower. I believe the Nismo has like 215 horsepower, which is awesome. The CVT made it to the 1.6 liter turbo, gets this car to 60 in about 8.8 seconds, and the top speed, this little thing can go 137 miles an hour. So let's dive into the styling. I love the lights. They take up the majority of the length of the hood, as you can see. Kind of Ford Fiesta-like in that regard. We have these huge lights down here. So I don't know which one's your daytime running light and which one is your brights, but they look pretty cool regardless. We have this circle theme. You see these, I guess it's more of an oblong oval shape, and then we have more circles and ovals down there at the bottom. I mean, I would give this car styling a 10 out of 10 in my opinion. I think Nissan was very quirky with this vehicle. I think it's super unique, and it's like a fine wine. The styling has gotten better over time. This styling was ahead of its time. You have very aggressive wheel arches. We have nice wheels on there. I'll zoom in on those wheels in just a little bit. Side profile of the car looks great. Again, I apologize for the wind. There's only so much I can do, guys. We have two 15 by 55 and 17-inch wheels. I don't know if you can see that. I can. I like the wheels. They're a little dirty. This car hasn't been through detail or anything. The back, the rear styling, these rear taillights are very Nissan 370Z. I think the rear of this car looks awesome. It's very sporty. And it kind of reminds me a little bit, just a tiny bit, of the Hyundai Veloster from the back, just a little bit. And we have a nice, fender guard around each wheel. I think it looks really sharp. Oh man, this car looks really good. I know what's cool also is these handles are up here on the door. But some people might find this car hideous, and that's okay. I'm sure I used to think this car was hideous when it came out, and I'm sure I thought it was stupid, but I've matured a little bit and it's grown on me. Let's cut to the next scene to get you guys out of this windstorm. I forgot to mention that this particular one is not all-wheel drive. I would recommend you get the all-wheel drive version, especially if you live somewhere. There's a drone that flew over me. It sounded like a buzzing bee. But I recommend you get all-wheel drive in this car. It would just make it a lot more fun and more practical during those winter months. Engine presentation is pretty basic under here. Nothing special, but you can see easy access to the battery. And at least they put, DIG turbo. They're proud of their technology. No shocks on the tiny hood. We do have a normal stand there to prop this little hood up. Inside of the 2013 Nissan Juke. Let's get this car fired up. Standard ignition, no push button start or anything like that. nice and calm. You can see a cool little dance that the tachometer, speedometer did when you turned it up. This car only has, ooh, that's a bad omen, 1666.6 miles on the trip. But it only has 32,000 miles, it being a 2013. Not too bad. The dash, we have this floating, I don't know if you guys can see that from the back here. We have like a floating cover for just covering this. I don't know. You guys tell me what that's for. I just discovered this little pages button. Ooh, miles per gallon. That's what I'm probably going to keep it at to give you guys an idea. It's averaging 26 miles per gallon, which is pretty darn good. Let's just go to, man, can we reset this? Oh, that just means on this fill up, it's at 100, wait, no, that's your range, sorry. This is going to say what my current MPGs is. If I hold this down, good, it resets. So I'm going to be able to tell you guys the miles per gallon that I'm going to get on this trip. Mirror controls here, which I'm going to go ahead and adjust that up a little bit. There we go, perfect. Good size rear view mirror. And actually visibility out the back window is much better than I was expecting. I know my hand's in the way, but you guys, it's better than I was expecting for a car styled like this. And visibility, now I haven't driven yet, but visibility looks like it's more decent than I was expecting. Here's your climate control, very basic, but man, do I like it. Hey, max AC all the way over here. Defrost. This tells you where the air is coming from. Pretty simple. AC button. It is illuminated. I'm like, gosh, what car was I in last week that didn't? It was like the Honda Cross Tour. Didn't have an illuminated AC button. It was just kind of perplexing. We have a 12 volt down here and a nice little storage area behind that. Of course, your gear shift is here. Gear selector, I should say. CVT really doesn't shift. Nice stylized cup holders with a little triple dot design in there. Tiny cubby here and a tiny cubby back there that can be accessible from the back row. E-brake here. CD player. I mean, look how easy this probably is to just swap out for a more modern CD player, but it's there. The fans are nothing special, and I actually like these old school fans that swivel, that you can actually push the air up like this. You know, I like it quite a bit. Now there's not a whole lot going on in this car. You can see in here that what is this? Old school iPod connector. Those are the best. I love seeing those in cars. I think they're pretty cool. Now it looks like you could pull this plug out and put something else in there, but it's probably some sort of proprietary connection that you can't really plug anything else into it. Okay, let's just go over the seats, I guess. Now this cloth over the years has taken some stains. You can see that. I don't know if that would come out. I doubt it. The seats are comfortable. They are hot though. This cloth is gonna, make you sweat a little bit during the hot winter months. Hot summer months, hot winter months, geez. Okay, on the door panel here, the same cloth, and it's looked like it's starting to fray a little bit. Then a nice plastic here. It's kind of got a sparkle. The same paint. I kind of like that when they put the same paint color on the arm or some sort of trim on the inside, that it is up there on the outside of the car as well. I don't know how I feel about this chrome, because this is like the only instance of chrome in the entire cabin. No other chrome. No chrome. There's some silver, but that's definitely not chrome. Only chrome is a handle and the door lock. Just kind of a bizarre added thing there. Automatic first touch window here. We have a window lock, and then your locking mechanism for the doors. Down there, very bottom, gas cap as well as your hood latch. But I think it's time to go ahead and get in the back. I mean, it's a budget-minded car, so there's no, wait. There's no sunroof. So here we have a light, all lights at once, which the middle one's probably a door light, and then we have that light as well. Pulling this down, we don't have any lights on the mirror here. Now I just mentioned that this is a budget-minded vehicle, so here's my hair. It's getting there. It's getting a little fuzzy. Oh man, they don't. Guys, look how much of the window. It only covers about half of the window with the visor. So pretty much a useless visor, except for the mirror. It has that going for it. What about this side? This side has a mirror as well, but again, it's pretty much useless. Let's get in the back. I think it's time. Just a reminder, the handles here, pretty cool. These doors are very light and easy to get in. Let's just swing open. Not a whole lot of legroom, and I wasn't expecting. At least this is a cloth material, so my knees can kind of fold into it. Again, the same painted paint as the exterior of the car, just in here on the plastic. Again, chrome handles, kind of weird. We don't have cloth on the armrest here, just a normal hard touch plastic. There's that cubby I was talking about, and there's no connectivity back here. So a very basic back seat. These seats will fold down. I'm not gonna do that for you guys. You know, just imagine there's going to be good versatility once the seats are folded down. Use your imagination for that one. Oh yeah, and there's a drink holder here on the side of the door. Opening up one of the smallest hatches I've ever seen, but it opens up really tall. Hopefully you guys can see that. Here's a nice trunk area. It's not very big, but like I said, you know, just fold down the seats, pull this up, move that forward. I said I wasn't going to fold them down, but there you go. That's an idea. Now that rear seat is going to be way too far forward, way too far backward to fold it down, as you can see, but you do have really good versatility in this small crossover type vehicle. Here we go, guys. We're finally driving the Nissan Juke. I've always wondered what this car has felt like driving. Taking off, this turbocharged engine has a good amount of torque. I want to say it has 177 pound-foot of torque and good power overall. The steering so far is kind of impressing me. Now this car doesn't weigh a whole lot, and it is small. It's very maneuverable. I mentioned visibility earlier, and visibility in here is actually pretty decent for a small car. Man, this is interesting because it's a CVT with an inline-4 turbo, and you get a double lag effect. So, and I'm gonna have to test it more to just clarify, but you have a double lag effect in the CVT engine. It's called the rubber band effect, where you press on the gas, and then once the CVT, you know, finds the optimal, you know, precision measurement to be at, I don't know what you would call that for the CVT. I'm not a CVT expert. Once it gets to the ideal tension on the CVT, then it shoots you forward. Just look up CVT rubber band effect if you don't know. And then I'm also getting the second delayed effect, which is a little bit of turbo lag. So it's kind of bizarre. I'm gonna floor it. And there's good power in here. And I like how the CVT is just like, yeah, I'm gonna hold you at maximum peak power output. I don't know what RPM that was. It was hovering right around 6,000 RPM. And it gets moving. It does. Once it downshifts for CVT, it goes, and it is pretty quick. And there's a lot of cars in this segment that I would say, hey, they're underpowered. I don't like the transmission. I'm not a huge fan of this transmission, but this engine kind of makes up for it. This little 1.6 liter turbo. Now that I'm up here up to speed, I'm gonna turn down the AC. This AC, in my opinion, is very weak. I don't know if it's just they don't have a very big air conditioning unit in this car. It only has 32,000 miles, so the AC shouldn't be shot by any means. But it just doesn't produce a lot of cold air. There's hardly anything coming out of the vents at about half speed. But now that I'm up here going about 60 miles per hour, road noise isn't bad. I'm not feeling a whole lot of vibration through the floor either. The ride quality overall is pretty good, and I don't have any major nitpicks so far, besides kind of like that delayed acceleration. But once it gets into the optimal power band for the car, it does take off. Back to harp on the AC. So I just cranked it to 4. 4 is the highest setting, and it's not blowing very hard at all. So it's unfortunate. Now, Nissan probably just outfitted this car with a pretty weak blower and a weak AC unit because this car is so small. But it is kind of disappointing after being in so many vehicles. That I've never been in a vehicle that's like, oh, I need more fan speed. No, I actually feel like I need more blower power in the AC. Yeah, it's hot today, it's like 93, but usually I'm getting blasted with some sort of air. Now the air is cold, it's just not very powerful. So if you guys own the Juke, let me know if this is an issue you have. Or maybe I'm just a little crazy. I am crazy, that is a fact. Here's something that's kind of weird. I'm seeing the hood wave in the wind, especially when like I hit a small bump in the road. And I'm gonna keep the camera on the hood so you guys can see maybe it bounce up and down. So it's probably a pretty light hood, and the wind is just, you know, making it waver a little bit at this type of speed. Let me turn the AC down. So I'm not super concerned about it, but it probably isn't the safest hood in the world to protect you from, let's say, a collision. I don't know what the heck that was. That was either a bug or like a bird or something that just scared the crap out of me. But the hood, I'm assuming it's not the safest hood, but this car, you know, no one's gonna buy this car thinking it's the world's safest vehicle. It's tiny. It's a very small vehicle. I forgot to talk about this 5 and 6 speed gearboxes that you can get with this car. Those are the manual transmissions, and if you know how to drive a manual, that's definitely the route to go. It would make this car a little bit more fun. It's going to be quicker, and the gas mileage is probably going to be about the same. So quicker, more fun to drive, similar gas mileage. Go with the manual if you know how to drive the manual. If not, learn how to drive one if you want this car, because I would recommend it over the CVT. It's a CVT. Most CVTs are not very engaging, not very precise, they're not very responsive. A manual transmission is 100% responsive. It does exactly what you tell it to, where the CVT doesn't really exactly, it has a mind of its own, and it's a slow, sluggish mind. Now this engine, like I said before, does kind of make up for that, whereas in other competitors with non-turbo 4s, like a turbo 4 mated with the CVT, it's okay, it's bearable. But a naturally aspirated inline 4 or a boxer 4 for a Subaru mated with a CVT, it's kind of a dreadful experience. So get the manual if you know how to drive one, and if you don't know how to drive one, teach yourself or have someone teach you. It's totally worth it. We're going to get into a braking test. So far I'm getting about 24.5 miles per gallon, and that I'm not trying to conserve fuel whatsoever. So this is pretty real world representation of fuel economy in this car. Braking test. All right, coming down the off ramp. 3, 2, 1, hit the brakes. They're strong, and they stop the car pretty well. They're not super smooth, and they don't have a whole lot of progression in them, but the brake pedal and the brake feel is strong. I'd probably give it a B overall for brake pedal, which is still pretty good. Very few cars, in my opinion, have grade A brakes. So we're flooring it from the stop. There's 40. There's 50. I mean, it's quick enough. I mean, it's not going to set any records or anything, but if you're in the market for one of these small crossovers and you're considering maybe the Juke or let's say a Subaru Crosstrek, I would take an all-wheel drive Juke every time. It has about 50 more horsepower. They both have a CVT. I like the CVT in this better because it doesn't try to be an automatic. And let's try the handling. You know, I didn't mind the handling in that Crosstrek. It was decent. Nothing quite as good as the Subaru Legacy. Yeah, handling's not very good, which is unfortunate because this is called a Juke, right? So Juke is all about, you know, quick side-to-side agility. This car isn't super agile. If you want this car to be agile, get the Nismo version, which is also going to have about 20 more horsepower, and it's going to have an upgraded suspension as well as, you know, better wheels. Oh my gosh, the lake looks windy today, so I apologize for the wind you're about to hear. Now you probably already heard it because I record part of this in different parts. So anyways, I apologize for the wind noise. Sums it up for the review of the Nissan Juke, as well as the review of this awesome wind noise today, and I apologize for that, guys. But this car, It's fun. Its character is fun at heart. It's not the best handling car. It's fairly quick with this Turbo 6. The CVT does an okay job. It's still just a CVT. But you're going to get really good fuel economy, and this car is all about the styling. If you like the styling, if you like the uniqueness of this car, get it. It's going to be reliable, it's fun to drive, and it's going to get good fuel economy as well. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys own this car, give me some good information that I didn't cover. I'll see you in the next video.